I'm Jim Schwartz. I'm with the Arlington County Fire Department. I've been with the department for almost 28 years, and I have about 31 years of service with the fire and EMS community. I'm here to introduce the training video that you'll see today on suspicious activity reporting for the fire and EMS service. This training is going to provide awareness for you about what suspicious activity reporting is. We're not asking people in your profession to do anything different than they do on a daily basis, except to establish relationships as appropriate for your community, to create the mechanisms that you can report those activities that are identified in this training as potentially suspicious and of note for the law enforcement community. At the core of suspicious activity training is the idea that we focus on activities and behaviors. We're not trying to establish who is involved in these kinds of activities. That takes us into areas that threaten our civil liberties and privacy concerns. Instead, we are trying to focus on those things that are apparent to us in the behaviors that we witness or activities that we see going on in our communities. It's important to understand that suspicious activity reporting is not all that different than the obligations that we have both as citizens and as professional responders to report things that we see. In most states, as responders, we already have a legal obligation to report things like elder abuse or child abuse or threats to people in our community that have nobody else to speak for them. When you respond to incidents and you become aware of things, you already have an obligation to report many of those things. We're really just talking here about expanding that same practice to those kinds of things that may present different kinds of threats to our community. The exchange of information that suspicious activity reporting represents is one of the ways that enhance those relationships and can foster the kinds of conversations that are important to mutual understanding about what each of us brings to the table when we are planning and when we are responding. One of the most monumental changes after 9/11 is the focus that we all have on preparedness. Those activities that lead to building knowledge, training, equipping our various agencies for the kinds of risks and threats that we see in our communities. Suspicious activity reporting is the kind of information that, when shared appropriately, will enable you to get back the kind of information you need to enhance your preparedness, to build the kind of capabilities that your community needs to be better preventers and better responders should a crisis actually occur in your community. Part of our job is about prevention. And the idea that we can identify threats to our community that the law enforcement community can review and then feed back to us so that we can enhance our prevention and response capabilities is of vital importance to the security of our communities. This training program is being made available to people in our business across the country. I encourage you as a fire service leader to not only share this information with people in your department, but encourage those in our profession that may not be aware of its availability as yet. Also, put this into your normal training program so that your personnel are reviewing this on a fairly regular basis. The kinds of activities described in this training are not the things that we do every day. They are not the same as pulling hose off a rig or caring for a sick person. They are things that are a little bit novel as opposed to the things that we do on a more routine basis. So I encourage you to incorporate this into your normal training programs and review the material on a fairly regular basis. I want to take this opportunity to thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video and incorporating the lessons that you'll take away here into your policies and procedures at the local level. It's extremely important that security of the homeland start with security in the hometown. And the more that we can do to partner with our law enforcement agencies and others in the community to remain vigilant, the more secure we can make our communities.